IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. Yet another episode of Talking Indian Football. And Chiranjit is with me on the line. Chiranjit, a lot of action going on in the Super Cup. I-League versus ISL. Da-da-dang, da-da-dang, da-da-dang. Explosive.
Explosive stuff. I'm pretty sure the reason why AIF set this up there, the people who set it up and thought, abhi acha hoega, abhi chalo, like I-League clubs are at their most weak point in their history, so let's make them face ISL teams. And now they're scratching their heads. Kya ho raha hai bhai? I thought every ISL team would beat I-League teams 3-4 goals. I thought they were gonna play like a La Liga type football, which looks so great and so high quality that I-League clubs are just gonna get blown away. I don't know what's happening. It's almost like when you have an open competition, the budget does not matter, the hype does not matter. The players just play in their own quality, and you just get great matches and great contests.
Yeah, that's fairly, the statement that everybody is wanting to be showing to all, but that's really not the case. I-League versus ISL is just for the branding, and we see some good football played by both I-League and ISL. It would have been better if those conditions would have been slightly better, climatic condition obviously. 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it really doesn't matter because the temperature is just soaring above 40 degrees at Bhubaneswar. But I think we've gone over this too many times to even stretch it out again on the show. So let's head on. A lot of matches happening over the weekend, and we will talk about those in detail. Firstly, Chennai coming up against Aizawl. What a game there. It went up to extra time, and even after that we did not have a winner, and we had to head into the penalties, and eventually Aizawl scoring all 5 penalties. What a match there. Chiranjit, wasn't it end to end?
All the Chennai fans are now in dilemma. If they say that if just in a knockout game whoever wins is the better team, then they have to admit that Aizawl FC is maybe a better team than them. But if they say no, this is just one game, anybody can best the other team depending on circumstances, then they might have to admit that just winning the final does not really mean they have won a league. So it's a bit of a conundrum for them. To be fair, Chennai FC were missing some players, but then again, so were Aizawl FC. David was not playing, Avilash was not playing. So many, I think 4 or 5 first team players from Aizawl FC were not available for this match. Same with Chennai FC. And what beautiful contest it was. Obviously, Chennai FC had more of the ball. They were better on the creative side. But Aizawl FC, that's what these games are all about. You have a knockout game, it's a cup game, and you have teams which are not matched with each other in terms of resources and playoff style, but they go up against each other, and if one team is constructive with the ball, the other team will try to defend hard and get them on the counters. That's what the game is all about. You don't really have to be better on the ball to win a match, and it was in that way it was such a beautiful game of chess, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I just want to highlight the goal that got Aizawl the lead for the second time. 25 seconds, Chiranjit, 25 seconds from the restart. What beautiful move was that? And Saigani getting the brace. I think that can go down as one of the videos that you want to show your younger teams. Now that this is how you start a game. Not really playing to the extra time. It's very difficult to play in the extra time because you've already drained out so much from your body, and when your opponent least expects you, that is the kickoff. And that's when Aizawl was so good at it, and a masterclass from there from Saigani getting that brace. What do you thought about that goal, that lead that got Aizawl in again? Getting the nose ahead in the extra time, second half.
It kind of reminded me of the goal India conceded against Kyrgyzstan. just immediately, it's just like Chennai FC did not turn on as fast as Aizawl FC did. It may be because Aizawl FC have been playing more matches. Chennai FC, of course, there's a lag that comes with you've just finished a very harrowing league season and you won the ISL, so you just sort of got carried away with the celebrations and all that. But and that's what gets you punished. Aizawl FC started from second one, and that's what you're supposed to do. And it was Masih Saigani. He's probably one of the most underrated, consistent players in India right now. He's even when the team is not doing so well, he's just out there doing his job, not always in the limelight. But he's such a great utility player, and this is one of his strengths. It does not matter even if the team is like trailing 3-0. He's going to be on, and he's going to be looking for his chances, and he's going to deliver. And that's what he did. And Andre Ionescu, he's also another guy that's going to get probably going to bag a big contract next season. Just always there, man. He's not intimidated by anything. So it was good to see overall. That's how Aizawl FC played, and one contest that sort of stood out to me throughout the game was Dodo's taking on Nelson Alves. I mean, did you see these two guys going up against each other? Dodo slapped around Nelson Alves, and Nelson Alves is probably one of the most expensive foreigners in Indian football right now, right? And Dodo's like former Cape player, used to play in local leagues here and there. He goes up against this big branded guy who's touted as one of the best ever to play in India. Well, didn't even stand up to the scrutiny. And these are the things that come out when you have an open setting. Like when you have one league which is completely beefed up by hype, and another league which is zero hype, and you put them together, you see them at a real level. And you find out that maybe, some players which are like just inflated by hype are not exactly matching up to some players which are not even, I mean, if you go by the marketing or hype machine, they don't even come in the picture. I mean, Dodos, who's Dodos? ISL committee will disallow a team's attempt to sign him on normal circumstances. But this is what it is. When you put them next to each other, this guy just beats the other guy hands down.
Yeah. That's there. It was a great contest between a lot of 1v1 contests there, especially looking at the fullbacks. Jerry, what an outstanding game he had. Unlucky to be on the losing side, but again, you want to look up to that youngster. The way he's progressed. We always keep talking about him, and over the weekend was another example. How much he's progressed in his career. So moving on, that was Chennai and Aizawl, where Aizawl entered the quarterfinals, beating Chennai FC on penalties, and the next game was Bengaluru FC taking on Gokulam. 2-1 was the end result, but it really, it felt the game deserved more goals. So many chances and so classy defense and attack. I think it was a great match to watch even for a neutral. If not, you're an ISL or I League fan. This was a treat for everybody. Great, game plays created by both teams. Chiranjeev, what do you thought about this game?
Well, I think it sort of mirrored the game between Chennai FC and Aizawl FC. Of course, both Bengaluru FC and Chennai FC had more of the ball. and they created a little bit more of the chances. They had the better pressure, but both Aizawl FC and Gokulam Kerala FC could have gone 3-0 ahead in the first half if they had just taken their chances. Even the first 20-30 minutes, you had Aizawl FC creating back-to-back chances and the strikers just misfiring in the final third, and that's the reason they did not seal the game straight away. Same thing happened with Gokulam Kerala FC. Some great saves from Gurpreet that kept Bengaluru FC in the game. I think he was the man of the match, the legitimate one. And same thing happened with Gokulam Kerala FC strikers as well. Henry did not find the target a few times, and that's why even Bengaluru FC had a chance to come back later.
Yeah.
But it's you could see, same thing could have happened for Chennai FC as well. The goal was coming for them. They kept fighting for it. In Chennai's case, they just conceded one extra goal, which Bengaluru did not. Otherwise, both of these teams should have won. Actually, they were looking like anytime they were going to come back and get their second goal. Bengaluru got the job done in the last minute thanks to Udanta. And India, of course, it's fair that they would win a matchup like this. It came so close to being yet another upset.
Yeah, and it almost headed into the extra time. It was so close, and that was the beauty about this game. That it kept keeping you at the edge of your seat, watching one end of the goal, and then suddenly there's a counter attack. But I think BFC turned out to be the stronger finishers than Gokulam FC, and that's what was the decider between both these teams. Gokulam FC, I think they had a great start. They had even a good second half, but I think the finish towards the 90 minutes is when they almost gave up, and this is when you want to make or break your last chances before you head into the extra time. I think easily it could have gone into extra time had BFC not taken the chances.
Yeah, but Kevin, what did you think of Sunil Chhetri? He had so many chances.
Yeah.
So many. He could have scored a couple of goals by 70 minutes.
Yeah. Now that's there. It's a game of a knockout when you have your best of players also not giving in. The nerves really kick in at that moment when the clock is heading towards a full time, and you might have to play a 30-minute plus even penalties. So you're trying to do your best, but then it's difficult to keep that composure in front of goal, and that's what probably hit Sunil Chhetri there. So after the match between Bengaluru FC and Gokulam, we did have Albert Roca and Udanta Singh, the Flash, as they call him, talk at the post-match conference. Let's head on to that conversation. Let's head on to what they had to say.
Football, it's important just to be concentrated from the first minute, and perhaps we were not so focused. It was difficult. We had a break. And after the league, I knew that it could be, difficult for my players, to start a competition as we wanted. But it's part of the human being, to that kind of. It's not about attitude, but sometimes it's like we think that we need some relax. There is no relax in competition. If you are not 100%, any team can beat us because we are not so good. I mean, we are a good team if we are for sure doing the things well, if we are trying to do the things well from the first minute. So second half it was much better, also because they were a little bit tired, and we have took advantage of these opportunities that we have created. I think we are fair, yes, I think it's fair, that win, and it's also to learn for the next game. Just if we want to pursue that challenge, we have to be better. This is as I said to you, sometimes it depends on lucky. We were not so lucky, and I think we had 2-3 chances before they scored that we had lead the game. It could be perhaps a little bit more easy. But when the other team scores, you know that you will suffer. You have to really play a good game if you want just to gain back. So yes, I think the players, they understood in the halftime that we had to change our mind and to be more aggressive and to play better, and we did. I think we are new, but everybody know us, our trajectory. We have win a title every year. So I think everybody's thinking that we have a good team, and I think I would like just to have a long history, because it's a team that they are really work well, not just in the first team, but also try for sure to have a good academy to help the football in India. And from the first day they did that, and I think it's going to be even more than the management is doing. So for us, it's for sure it's a commitment that we have to take, and we have to try to do our best every time to not let drop this image that we have right now.
Coach, the Chennai FC's lost last night. Was it a wake-up call for your team?
Yes, sure. I mean, I cannot say that because there in that final we had our opportunities. It was a shame because suddenly all the work that we did during the season it's down because one bad moment and it's a shame, but football is like this, so we have to learn. And today was the first lesson, and finally, we got the good result that we wanted. And come on, we have just to look forward and try to do our best in the next.
Having been pulled down in the first half and then finally recovered in the second half, could you say in Spanish you can be said "que susto"?
Yeah, que susto, eh? Yeah, that's true. You can explain them what is susto. Okay. Yes, it's a little susto. But we are professional, and we have to try always, until the end of the game, to do our job. And I think we have created some chances before, that goal. And perhaps, we can. I think, to go to the prolongation, it could be not, fair for me, because at that time, we could score, one more goal.
You were quite synonymous with the blistering run down the right flank and during the pass. So, somewhere down the line, when you got the pass, was the goal against Myanmar that you crossed to the Sunil Chetri, your teammate in the national team, your teammate here? Was it going through our mind?
Yeah, seems like similar. I think so. So I just pass one defender and just pass cut back, so score same. I think it's similar with the national team goals.
And that was Albert Roca, coach of Bengaluru FC, and also Udanta Singh talking about the match, the thoughts in the post-match conference. So that's the game between BFC and Gokulam, which BFC won. 2-1 was the final score. And the final match of the weekend was Churchill Brothers playing Mohun Bagan, where Mohun Bagan did end up victors, but it was not that easy that as the scoreline suggests, because lots of action at both ends of the pitch, and probably Churchill Brothers have to be kicking themselves because both teams had equal number of chances, but Churchill Brothers did really put up a great fight towards the end. And Chiranjit, your thoughts on the Mohun Bagan victory against Churchill Brothers?
Yeah. Well, Plaza has been, I think East Bengal fans were like going crazy, like, ये हर जगह अच्छा खेलता है, सिर्फ हमारे लिए अच्छा नहीं खेलता है, and all that stuff. But Plaza, I'm a little bit disappointed in Mohun Bagan defense that they let him get that goal, because he's supposed to be a familiar opponent by now. Some 3-4 matches against Mohun Bagan in the past, could not score in a single one of them. He came into this game thinking like, he came into that game with that thought process that we are going to get the goal. But it was a mistake from Arijit Bagui. Arijit Bagui is a blooming defender. He's going to make mistakes here and there. It almost made Mohun Bagan pay. That first goal came. They could have immediately scored a second. They got the chances. They missed a couple, some good saves also on Mohun Bagan's part. But I think Mohun Bagan were a bit lucky that the penalty came their way. That there was really no reason to commit that foul in that point. But that's what sort of brought them back into the game. Otherwise, we had a contest in our hands. If Churchill Brothers come into the second half with a lead, things just play out very differently from there. So things fell into place for Mohun Bagan. It was not an easy game by any means, but it's good to see Churchill Brothers put up a strong fight.
And especially the dying minutes of the game, I think 3 minutes and 3 good chances that Churchill Brothers had. I think it would have been a savior for Plaza, who I think he didn't have a very he didn't have the best of games towards the second half. But I think it would have been a great matchup had it been an equalizer coming in late in the almost in the dying minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm actually a bit sad that Churchill Brothers will be departing from the top level football now, because they'll be playing in second division next season. They just started the season so badly, and that's been their folly for the last 2-3 seasons that they have been back. They just started with a bad team, then they do a lot of course correction in the middle of the season, then they become better, and when they're finishing, that they have underachieved because they are doing so well. They just knocked out an ISL team, came into the pre-quarter finals, and almost beat Mohun Bagan, who were a title contender in the I-League. So all that, you just have to think how much of a missed opportunity that Churchill Brothers have been in the return since they returned from their suspension and ended up getting relegated. So it's a sad thing. It's going to be a loss for Indian football, but that's the reality we live in for now.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to the end of the first half of the show. We will, on the other side, talk about the games coming up in the Hero Super Cup, I-League versus Aizawl. Be back after the break.
Hello there. My name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do 2 men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch all the episodes on the IVM podcast app or any other podcasting app you like. Till then, keep it queer.
Welcome back after the break, and we will talk about the matches that are coming up in the Hero Super Cup. Minerva playing Jamshedpur. Chiranjit, champions of the I-League, champions of India, playing against Jamshedpur, who narrowly missed out on making out to the playoffs of ISL.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested, but it seems like a wild, unpredictable attacking force going up against a very well-organized defensive side. So Jamshedpur FC have been known for their composure, for their constraint, for their ability to play balanced games and not let themselves be dominated. Minerva Punjab have also managed to sort of avoid being dominated, and they haven't really gotten big wins. They also have traded in like small 1-goal wins and get sneaking out with 3 points. So it seems to me that Jamshedpur FC are the more defensively solid version of Minerva Punjab, and Minerva Punjab are the more are the version of Jamshedpur FC that's more successful with their attack. It's a bit of a like statistically same matchup, and I'm actually having trouble picking who might actually win this game. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, this is what you made up. Explaining about both teams, it just makes me go back to the Jekyll and Hyde days, and when you have a split personality just playing against each other, mirroring each other's strengths and weaknesses. So that is going to be an interesting contest there, because we know Jamshedpur, we're playing for the first time in the ISL, and probably in the league they did so well because it was overtime. But this is going to be a knockout game, and Minerva are known to score goals and yet be able to keep those clean sheets. So that's going to be interesting. How they are able to score and yet defend that lead. So that's the most interesting part. Chiranjit, what do you think about the scores here?
Well, I want to see Chinto do something, right? He said he wants to play in ISL, and what better way to market himself as a prospect for ISL than playing well against an ISL team. So it's a big opportunity for him. It's a big opportunity for everybody out there. All the new Indian players which have come up through the Minerva Punjab's ranks, and they've already had their validation by becoming champions of India. But this is in terms of publicity, this is a bigger platform. They're going up against these big corporate teams which have the money, and if you play well against them, they're gonna get a much bigger contract next time. So it just seems like for many players in the I-League clubs, especially, this is what Super Cup is all about. Yeah, getting yourself a nice, good contract with with like 3-4 times the money you're making now, and they're going. If you score against a defense with Tiri or Baiki and Anas present in that side, then yeah, you have made it. You have announced yourself in Indian football. So I think Minerva Punjab will just go for it from the get-go, from the very first minute. And Steve Coppell will hold Jamshedpur FC back and look for chances going into the game. They will be treating Minerva Punjab as a little bit of a wild card who's not well known, they have not had the chance to study like they have studied other ISL teams over the season. So he's gonna Jamshedpur will start slow. Minerva Punjab will just go for the kill, and that's what the Minerva Punjab coach will hope for, is get an early goal, and then think about defending. Do you see this happening like this?
For me, it's looking like a 1-0 win to either teams. But when that goal is going to come is going to be the decider. Probably towards the end of the second half. That'll be very interesting. That 1-goal game, and then you score in the 90th minute. Wow. All right, moving on. FC Goa take on ATK. So Terry Sheringham gone, Ashley Westwood gone. Robbie Keane is the player manager. What do you see this team? Do you think they're even able to going to be standing up against this attack, lethal attack from FC Goa?
I think FC Goa takes this pretty easily.
Yeah.
They're going to overwhelm ATK. FC Goa actually are. They look more balanced, they look more attacking, and since they have lost out in the ISL semi-finals, they are looking at Super Cup as a point to prove. So yeah, it's the last chance for the silverware, and they're not going to let ATK stop in their quest. FC Goa, I see them going into semi-finals pretty easy.
Goal fest
with the kind of goal fest on one-sided. Even 2-0 or 3-0 or 3-1, something like that. I think it's a 3-1 win to FC Goa.
Yeah, even I have a feeling that ATK might just be in trouble trying to let go of both their managers. Probably one of them was more suiting to this team had it been right from the start. But all in all, things do go this way in a lot of leagues. All right. So for me again, it's a Goa win here. Pune City, FC Pune City will take on my team, Shillong Lajong. I think this will be a good contest. especially.
You think Sri Lanka have a chance?
Of course. Shillong Lojong have been that team, that everybody wants to belittle all the time, and Shillong Lojong always proves everybody wrong. Mohan Bagan, you have a very good experience of that. Pune City, yes, they had a very attacking side, but at the moment, I think they do. Do they have all foreigners still there? Probably one or two missing, but Shillong Lojong, that any day, any given time, they are able to put up a fight with the youngsters on this side, because they've known them for so long, and that's going to be their strength coming up against AFC Pune City. So that was the first time that they made it through the ISL semi-finals. Do you think that is going to haunt them, and they might just show all their powers in the Super Cup?
Yeah, I think Shillong Lojong does put up a big fight, and it's going to be a close game. It's probably going to be way closer than most people think. Shillong Lojong may even have Pune City on the ropes for some time. I see a 15 to 20 minute period of domination going towards Shillong Lojong's way, but in the end, I think Pune City makes it. Pune City will just push through with one goal. Maybe it's a 2-1, maybe it's a 1-0. But Pune City does. It's actually more likely that this is 2-1, because Pune City will break the defense twice at least. Pune City go through.
Yeah, I will be rooting for Lojong as always, and let's hope for some goals, because goals are hard to come by for Shillong Lojong, even after longer spells of possession. But I hope goals are there for Lojong. Next matchup, East Bengal will play Mumbai City, who have already won the qualifiers. So Mumbai City, obviously, they did get the better of Indian Arrows in the qualifiers, and here they are playing another round of 16 in the Super Cup against East Bengal. 14 years without the top level trophy. This again is not a top level trophy, but then for the first time, EB can really show everybody that what they can bring to the ISL if they are to come in down the line. Chiraji, is that going to be a good contest for EB to make their mark?
Well, you remember we were doing the episode of TFG Tackles, and we were talking about the upcoming matchups in the Super Cup qualifiers. And I said, Mumbai City versus Indian Arrows is the game to watch out for, because that's the one ripe for something special being put on show. And we saw that. Indian Arrows almost knocked Mumbai City out.
Yeah,
that's how it went down. So it was a special performance from Indian Arrows, but you just have to take into account how Mumbai City held up against them. Like, started slow, took their time to get into rhythm. They were easily outplayed by the stamina. It was mostly the speed and the stamina that Indian Arrows fought Mumbai City with. The question is, can East Bengal replicate some of that? They can't be as fast as the Arrows players, but they have more firepower, they have more experience, they are better in the midfield, frankly. So it's probably going to be a tighter contest than it was between Mumbai City and Indian Arrows. With our two favorite coaches, Khalid Jamil and Subhash Bhaumik, finally working together, it seems like they're talking to each other, they're strategizing together. We might see something very special. This is probably one of the most exciting matchups we have going into the game. Neroka versus Kerala is another story, but East Bengal versus Mumbai City, this goes into 120 minutes, and anybody can take it. I just can't predict who will take it. Mumbai City, of course, have like a 60-40 chance, but don't count East Bengal out at this point.
Yeah, that's there. I hope we see some good action there. Neroka and KBFC, Kerala Blasters, will take on Neroka. Chiranjeev, your scoreline for this match?
Isn't it the unofficial Manipur derby that we have going on in the Super Cup? We have a club from Neroka, club from Manipur in Neroka, with one veteran coach, Gift Rai Khan, leading them. And you have Kerala Blasters, who's powered by Kangboy Singto. It's two big Manipuri coaches going up against each other. And I have a weird feeling about this. I just think Neroka. I just it seems like they're gonna make it. I don't know. I'm putting myself. I'm going out on a limb here by saying Neroka have a chance here. It just seems like to me that with that speed, with that just being so symmetrical with their action throughout the game, Kerala Blasters have been found lacking in that particular area. It's like the defense does not coordinate that well with midfield, and midfield does not translate well into service for the attack. Neroka is exact opposite. And no star players, no hype, no nothing. They're just a good team, and they are so well organized throughout all departments. And that just somehow makes me think Neroka have a chance to trump Kerala Blasters.
So you're saying the difference between both the teams is either chipping or not chipping the ball to the striker's chest?
It's not entirely that, but I just see them creating more chances against each other. It just seems like the Neroka midfield will just have way more way more opportunities to press ahead. And Kerala Blaster, I'm not very sure of what kind of motivation they will come in with. And we have seen the problem with motivation in a lot of cases. Like Chennai FC coach, he talked about lack of motivation after the game, and that may be a case with many other teams. Many other ISL teams particularly, where lots of players. Frankly, it happens. They're humans. That so many players are just looking at the tournament with annoyance. Like, what is this? Let's just get this over with. If we lose, we get to go home early. And that's what really happens when you have. I don't want to shit on ISL teams here. I'll just say that there is a problem with motivation after you play the big ticket ISL and all that stuff. When it's over, and that there's just not as many eyeballs and not as much promotion behind a tournament like Super Cup. They don't turn up in the same way.
Yeah. Let's hope there's some good action in this game. It promises to be a great game. I'm edging towards Kerala Blasters win here, probably because of Ian Hume. I think he's a great guy to have when you're in these circumstances where you need 1 or 2 goals. Again, it's a knockout contest, so it can turn to any side at any time of the game, and any time in the game. So that was the previews of all the matches coming up.
You think Kerala Blasters is going to take it?
I do feel, somewhere I'm just leaning towards Kerala Blasters victory. Probably, it's. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy contest for them to win, because Neraka are that fighting side. They do have stronger second half performances. So one goal is where it can change everything. But the defense of Kerala Blasters is not really up to the mark. So I'm relying on 1 or 2 goals from Ian Hume to make all the difference there. Alright, that was the Super Cup fixtures that are coming up in the round of 16. We will focus our attention on a competition that is much bigger than this. It's the Continental Championship. It's the AFC Cup, where 2 Indian clubs will be facing each other. Yes, we're talking about Aizawl FC, obviously the I-League winners of last season, and BFC Federation Cup winners of last season. They will be in the same group, and this is first of the 2 meetings that they will have in the group stages, where only one team out of the 4 in the group can go through. So this is coming up. Chiranjit, your thoughts on this?
It's the AFC Cup group stage game we've been waiting for. It's always. I don't know. With all the matches going on, this match has the least amount of hype. It's probably not even going to be on TV, which is a shame. I just don't know why this is happening to us again and again. It's 2 Indian clubs, 2 of the most talked about clubs at the moment. Aizawl FC for their fairy tale I-League victory, Bengaluru FC because how they have been doing in ISL. just dominating the whole scene. It's literally the clash of the titans if you're thinking about matchups at the moment, and it's happening in the Asian level. So why are we not hearing more about this? It's an interesting matchup. We have seen that Aizawl FC are no longer a pushover. Even in the ACL qualifier, they did really well. The recent AFC Cup match away from home, they could not perform up to expectations, but I think they have taken some lessons from that. And again, they will turn up against Bengaluru FC in the same way they turned up against Chennai FC to prove a point. And that's what makes this game even more interesting. They're gonna face two of the best teams from ISL back to back, and they just knocked out Chennai FC, and now they're gonna face Bengaluru FC. I mean, what more of a delicious matchup can you actually expect from out of here? What do you think, Evan?
Yes, Aizawl FC, this season has not been, as glorified as their previous, I-League winning season, but it's obviously there for Aizawl to, take away all the hard work of this season. But somewhere they fell short, owing to probably their players were taken away, but. This is another opportunity for them to shine, and it's a bigger test than the Hero Super Cup because it's the AFC Cup Championship, and for them it's the first time that they're heading into this competition, and they did lose out on the ACL because Zobahan was just too strong for them. But they should take some inspiration from that game as well. You always have a learning when you play against stronger opponents, and BFC is no weak opponent to face. And we know at the AFC Cup level, BFC are one of the most experienced sides in Indian football currently, and they are also doing well. Just see the past record in the AFC Cup. Yeah, this is a great contest again. As well, I do look like they're going as underdogs, but I think this is not going to be any short of a great contest to have. All right, that brings us to the end of the show. Lots of action coming up your way. We will keep you updated. Do follow us on Twitter. @TFG Football is the Twitter handle that you want to keep yourselves updated with. We are also on the podcasts are also available on various podcasting apps like SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. Download the IVM podcast app, which is available on Android and iOS. If you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and do comment to let us know what you thought about the matches that we talked about. And till another episode, guys, take care. See you.
There she stands, a podcast addict. Outside the bank, having travelled several miles to get in with other poor souls like her. The journey, though daunting for this youngling, will have some comfort because she has downloaded her favourite podcast. You can see more of her species on ivmpodcasts.com. Your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.